I gotta ask the question over here, is Sean Strickland underrated? I find that to be a very fascinating topic because when you have a guy as champion, when the guy is the main event and a champion, it's very difficult, in my opinion, to say that he's underrated because underrated and underappreciated greatly go hand in hand. So I remember when Strickland fought Izzy, just for perspective for you guys, he was I apologize. He was not only a 6-1 underdog, but he was the number 6 ranked guy. And that was relevant because nowhere in Izzy's career had he fought somebody for his championship that was not in the top 5. So, in that regard, I'd have to say that Strickland was underrated. He was underappreciated when they had him at number 6, when it turned out he was the best guy in the world. In fact, he was a dominant number 1, if you looked at that performance over the consensus number 1. I also like to defer you back to that night because he was ranked number 6 within the weight class, because right now he's moved over to the pound for pound list. And most champions are somewhere on the pound for pound list, but Strickland, wouldn't you know, is number 7. I mean, that is a colossally 180. He goes from number 6 within his weight class, number 6 within his weight class, to hell with weight classes, overall, to hell with gender. Just tell us the skills. Where does he sit? And he only moves down 1 spot. I mean, I would say that that's pretty high. And here's the problem with the question, as I see it, because I also felt, yes, I wanted to say yes when I was first asked this. Yes, he is underrated. Yes, he is underappreciated. But as I started to dig into this a little bit, what became a little bit clearer to me is we're really having a conversation about du Plessis. And all of a sudden, the question isn't, is Sean Strickland underrated? It's, is du Plessis overrated? And that one, I'm not prepared to give an answer to, guys. I don't have enough data. Like, to give you an analysis, I would need more data. All I know about du Plessis is he believed in himself, he spoke up, he found himself opposite Robert Whittaker, and he whipped Whittaker's ass. And I gotta word it like that because there is not a man walking amongst you that has whipped Robert Whittaker's ass. Save one, Adesanya, the first time, right? Robert Whittaker's never been dominated. Robert Whittaker has never been beaten up. Robert Whittaker has never been thrown around. Robert Whittaker has never been finished. Robert Whittaker is, I mean, you could just keep on doing it. Du Plessis came in and did us all out of nowhere, and he wasn't supposed to. He was the 3-1 dog. He was fighting Robert Whittaker as a way of shut up. I mean, there is a truth over here that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but there is a greater truth of be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. And this dude did not belong, this DDP did not belong in there with a future Hall of Famer and a former world champion and a perennial number 1 contender in Robert Whittaker. We thought. Turned out we were wrong. And I really feel that in lies the greater question as it has to do with Strickland. I don't think it's about is he underrated or is he overappreciated. I think it has to do more with his next opponent, du Plessis, and there's a question mark. Guys, I did a piece with ESPN, and I sat with 2 experts, Daniel Cormier and John Anik. I was number 3. And we were discussing Fighter of the Year for 2023. And we had a list of 4 names to choose from. And on that list was Dricus du Plessis. Now, I think that that's fascinating considering we only saw him fight 1 time in the entire year. I think that's fascinating considering that was a stoppage. The night that he fought, the 1 time that he fought, we didn't even get a full fight. And he was on the ESPN, the worldwide leader of all sport, not just this. He was on the top 4 for Fighter of the Year. And you want to know something else? He should have been. There was only one other guy with 1 performance that was on that list. His name was Jon Jones. So just so you understand the company and the rare air that du Plessis' name is breathing right now, it's very interesting because we've seen guys have wonderful performances. I mean, I'll even do that with Sean Strickland, who I'm attempting to shine up right now, but to act as though that was the best version of Adesanya that we had seen in 2023, you guys would not agree with that. You understand that some nights you have better nights and you have worse nights and you have things that come together and you have things that start pushing you apart. You understand all of these different concepts. So it becomes a question with DDP. Did he just have the perfect night? Did Whitaker just have the perfect, everything fell apart? Those two things came together, or can we expect a consistency out of this guy in DDP? Can we expect that this is how he's going to perform, that he's going to rise to the occasion, that he doesn't know anything about fatigue, that he punches really hard, he kicks really hard, he wrestles really well? Like, are these just things that we can assume, or was that just a one good night? It's an interesting concept, isn't it? There was a time that DDP versus Sean Strickland got announced, and our own partner DraftKings had a 2-1 favorite DDP. That time is gone. There was a bubble for about 72 hours where Sean Strickland took the lead and became the favorite in that fight. He's lost it. It's gone back to Dricus, but it's no 2-1 spread. It's a lot tighter. The fans are starting to pay a lot more attention. And I am not ready to say that Sean Strickland is underappreciated. I'm not ready to say that. But I'm not in a position to tell you, as great as DDP has looked, I'm not in a position to tell you that he deserves that quite yet. One performance which was cut short, it's one of these interesting situations. As time starts to go, the only thing separating DDP and Sean Strickland, the only thing between them is time and space. And as that time and space starts to diminish, this fight starts looking better and better.